Thom Hartmann here on the news. You need to know this. The movement to amend the Constitution to overturn the Supreme Court's insane Citizens United decision and thus to declare that money is not speech and corporations are not people received a big boost on Thursday. The New Jersey State Assembly signed on to a resolution expressing strong opposition to Citizens United and called on Congress to amend the Constitution to get rid of that ruling. New Jersey now becomes the 9th state to support amending the Constitution to prevent corporations, millionaires, and billionaires from buying our elections. Already, California, Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, Hawaii, New Mexico, Rhode Island, and Vermont have adopted similar resolutions. With more outside money being poured into this election than ever before, now is the time to make your state the next state to join this fight against the corporatocracy. Go to movetoamend.org. Homeowners got screwed by Wall Street. Now they're getting screwed by their state governments. Earlier this year, homeowners won a $25 billion settlement against some of the nation's largest mortgage lenders. That money was sent to the states where it was supposed to be funneled to struggling homeowners to prevent more foreclosures. But a new report by the nonprofit organization Enterprise Community Partners says that states are instead using that money to plug budget holes and fund pet projects. In fact, more than half of all the money allocated to the states so far has not gone to homeowners. For example, in South Carolina, the state legislature has instead siphoned off that money to fund incentives for corporations to move to the state. And in Georgia, Republicans have directed nearly all of the $99 million in settlement money for homeowners to a vague economic development program. Homeowners desperately need help, and the housing crisis continues to weigh down our economic recovery. It's time for state governments to get their priorities straight. In the best of the rest of the news, the Nobel Prize-winning European Union is now trying to force indebted nations to privatize critical natural resources. The European Commission is insisting that privatization of municipal water supplies must be a condition to receive future bailouts. As in, if nations like Greece, Portugal, and Spain want to receive bailouts in the future, then they're going to have to hand their most critical resources, like water, over to transnational corporations to run for profit. Several organizations, including Food and Water Europe and the Blue Planet Project, have pushed back against these demands. As the directors of European Affairs with Food and Water Europe said about the privatization demands, this really demonstrates how the Commission has lost touch with reality. Their ideological arguments are not based on substantiated facts and go to the extreme of ignoring the democratic will of the people. End of quote. The letter has been sent to the Vice President of the European Commission, calling for the privatization plan to be ditched. The battle happening right now and well into the future will be over our commons, and we must make sure that we, the people, remain the stewards of our commons and not transnational corporations looking to exploit resources for a profit. For the second time in 5 months, the courts have endorsed marriage equality. A federal appeals court in New York voted 2-1 to rule that the Defense of Marriage Act is unconstitutional and violates the rights of same-sex married couples. Under the Defense of Marriage Act, known as DOMA, marriage is defined as between a man and a woman, and no state has to recognize same-sex marriages from different states. DOMA, in fact, forbids same-sex couples from receiving the same federal benefit that heterosexual couples receive. The Obama administration has stopped even trying to defend DOMA in the courts, so now Republicans in Congress are using taxpayer dollars to continue defending that discriminatory law. There are currently 6 appeals related to marriage equality pending before the Supreme Court, making it very likely that the court will take up this issue at some point during their current term. Stay tuned for equal rights hang in the balance. More allegations of election fraud against the Republican Party. A voter registration supervisor contacted by the Republican Party of Virginia was arrested on Thursday for destroying voter registration applications. 31-year-old Colin Small was caught throwing away a bag of filled-out voter registration forms in a dumpster. Police say the crime appears limited in nature, but additional charges may be filed in the future. Already, the Republican National Committee is dealing with allegations of election fraud after it hired a firm known as Strategic Allied Consulting to register voters in key swing states. That firm was found to commit widespread fraud by destroying or tampering with voter registration forms filled out by Democratic voters. At least 11 counties in Florida have discovered tampered registration forms handled by that firm. It's clear that one political party has a vested interest in keeping as many voters from the polls as they possibly can. As former Republican strategist Paul Weyrich pointed out, Republicans' chances of winning goes up when the voting populace goes down. And finally, the new revolving door is at Mitt Romney's campaign headquarters. Back in August, the Romney campaign hired Pierce Scranton to be their economic policy director. Well, it turns out that just 3 months before, Scranton was a lobbyist for Wall Street, pushing for the repeal of Dodd-Frank and to cut taxes on banksters. This might be one reason why Romney has taken a hardline stand on repealing all of Dodd-Frank's Wall Street reforms, as well as keeping the capital gains tax, exploited by many banksters, lower than the average working people pay in taxes. Yet more proof that Mitt Romney is indeed Wall Street's favorite candidate. And that's the way it is today, Friday, October 19th, 2012. I'm Thom Hartmann on the news. Coming up next on the top.